Kristen, the cross-stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning subscribers. And if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross-stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. And this particular episode is definitely going to have life stuff scattered throughout. Today is Sunday, the 6th of August, and in roughly 2 days' time, my nan is going to be celebrating her 90th birthday, which I think for anyone is a really big milestone, like a huge milestone. And this is where it's really cool that my nan is reaching that age. So hopefully all goes well. And speaking of milestone birthdays, this is where the theme of this episode has come about, where I've been doing a bit of freestyle stitching, and as a result of me freestyle stitching rather than following a pattern and then doing personalizations along the way, I haven't been following any kind of pattern at all. I've had like an idea in my head and I did try to chart it. The chart didn't quite work out. And that's where the frog noticed that and decided that where I am, my apartment here, or even in Canberra, awesome digs. It just loved my company so much that it decided to have an extended holiday where I am for roughly 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, depending on my feelings towards this particular piece by mid-August. So a colleague of mine is going to be celebrating their 21st birthday in roughly mid-August, and they enjoy reading and they love Star Wars. So this is, I guess, my take on Star Wars themed cross-stitch font, and I guess you can see it sort of is what it is. Yeah, this is part of why the frog decided to come and stay, because of how I was choosing to stitch the letters and the words and the positionings, and I'm not 100% sold on it in terms of whether I'm happy with it or not. So I was like, I just need to take a break from it and get back into my AFL stitching challenge, because I did pause it for about a week or so, and I'm feeling the pain for it. I feel like I need to take about a week off work to actually catch up on last week's stitching that should have gotten done, plus trying to keep up with this weekend of stitching. So I'll get there. It'll be okay. We're getting towards the pointy end of the challenge as far as the AFL is concerned, and it's going to mean that I'll be able to catch up. It'll work out in the end. But this I stitched on 28 count linen. It does have a coffee stain on the back that will come out. The DMC threads, all of the border, all of the letters except for the word strong. I used, I think it was pickles, something very similar to pickles. It was some specialty thread that came through the Black Needle Society as part of a retreat box to do with the Gilmore Girls. And I think it might have been actually one of the most recent boxes that we did, which would have been spring, potentially spring. So it just has this really beautiful, subtle, variegated green to it. And with what we're seeing at the moment, the letters for words force, strong, and one are going to remain as they are, because I'm sure that if I keep fiddling any more with this bookmark, it's not gonna work. Also, technology. Technology is a good thing and a bad thing. I had recorded almost this full episode, and then when I wanted to try and do some editing, my software that I was using said, no, sorry, this file size is too big. Try reducing it in size, and then we can play. So yeah, I'm a bit grumpy. but we'll be all right. We'll get there. Everything happens for a reason, I'm sure. So with this bookmark, in terms of how I'm going to finish it, a little undecided. I'll probably continue to be scatterbrained as I am with talking with you at the moment, where I'll probably keep chopping and changing my mind about how it's going to be until the last minute. So I'm thinking I might sort of back it with um, some cardboard or something like that, and then put some black fabric on the back to go with the Star Wars theme. Um, I don't know. I'm in and ahhing on that one. If you've got any thoughts or ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comments box. It could work, I don't know. But that said, this bookmark is already quite chunky for a bookmark. It's in my headspace. I do a lot of reading. In theory, bookmarks are thinner than this. They're about half the width. To me, that's a good size bookmark. But then it could be a bit too thin. I don't know. Wait and see. Playing around with thoughts and ideas. I do have some backups of charts that I could quickly stitch, but I think I just need to suck it up, buttercup, and just stick with it. I think, I don't know. I'll wait and see. But if I fuss around with it too much more, then I'm going to run out of time and I just won't be happy with it at all. So with that in mind, I have tried to catch up on a bit of stitching, and what I've done is I feel like I'm like this close, really close to getting some stitching finished for another project. So for the last couple of years especially, I've been trying to solidly work on 12 Days of Christmas. It's a chart out of the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas, volume 18, volume 19 from the year 2018. It's designed by Rhonna and Norrie, and this is what it'll sort of roughly look like in the end. I probably won't fully finish it like that. I haven't quite decided how I'll fully finish it. I figure I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, but this is where I'm at so far. So I'm getting closer to the top of the tree. We're seeing the formation of the two French hens, and where we see the yellow as well is the pear for the partridge. It's a partridge in a pear tree, and it's getting closer. So if I really knuckle down, I can get the rest of the full and quarter cross stitching for this piece done by tonight, which is exciting and pretty cool because I will then also have to pause the stitching or pause stitching for the challenge and really knuckle down for the water tiger project, because I think I've fallen behind a bit with that one. If I really want to try and get it framed for my friend's birthday, so stick around and wait for that one. But with this one of the reasons why it's really exciting about my progress for this one is that Sydney Swans and the St Kilda Saints have won their last 3 games, which means that if I add up all the scores to do with those games, I need to put a total of 319 stitches into this piece, which is where I'd be able to get all of the full and quarter cross stitching done. I will need to come back and fix up the stitching around this particular goose because I mucked up when I was initially stitching it. My eyes just weren't paying attention as well as what I should have been for that goose. But hey, again, it will be a personalisation rather than anything else. So it'll work out in the end, and if it ends up looking like a bit of a funky looking goose, that's okay because I think that's half of the fun of stitching, even the freestyle stitching when the frog comes to visit. I think it keeps us on our toes as much as we may dislike frogs. Okay, that's it. Next bit of stitching is a heaven and earth design. It's the one of the bookshelves designed by Amy Stewart, and this one's a stitch in time, and this one's really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing more progress done on this one. And GWS Giants won their game last week. They played last night and they got close to winning, but Swans held on. So I've put, I think, a bit over 100 stitches into this one. So it meant that I got to fill in things around here a bit, around where the tree is, and it's really nice being able to see this project through the camera lenses and chatting with you all, because I get a bit of appreciation of how much has been done, and that it is possible for me to stitch 1/1 on 25 or 28 count fabric rather than going to my default of 2/2, which is where I've been doing that for this even weave, doing 2/2 using cord 4 colours. And I don't know, it's just, I think I could overanalyze it and it's not worth it, because it's all about the stitching for me and just enjoying the process. So with this Design Works project, this one's the zebras, and for me this one's all about the colours. And this one I bought as a kit, and so I'm using the cord 4 fabric and cord 4 colours. This one's been stitched on 14 count Ada, and I've been, I'll fold this in half, I've been focusing around the top here. And this one I've put, how much? 78? No, 96. So it's been, I've probably rounded it up and put roughly 100 in on this one. And this is probably, again, one of those sorts of projects where if I just, like with anything, sat down, knuckled down, focused, it'll get done. And I'm starting to think that I need to make a chart based around that phrasing. Well, it's almost like the famous phrases or infamous phrases that crafty people use. So actually, that's a really good question. Is that something that anyone here would be interested in? Would you guys be interested in infamous phrases that us crafty people do or say? So phrases such as, "Oh yeah, this will get done in a weekend," and whether we hold up like a full coverage project, going, "Oh yeah, I've only got 1,000 stitches to go. Yeah, that'll take me just a weekend. It'll be fine." And then 3 months later, "Oh yeah, I've still got X amount of stitches to go." So I don't know. Are there any other phrases that we should use that could be charted? Would you be interested in stitching them? I'd love to find out. I'd love to hear if you've got any thoughts on that one. That said, back to stitching. Midnight Glow. I've come to realise just how much I miss stitching this when I have the opportunity to work on it. Partly because it's a full coverage project on 14 count Ada. Yes, it has a bit of confetti, but it's worth it because just how gorgeous is this? This one's really cool. And again, famous last words of, "Oh yes, I've only got X amount of stitches to go. I should get it done by this time." So this is sort of towards the pretty much the bottom of the fabric. I've chopped the last block of 10 stitches off, so otherwise it'd be sitting down around here. But that said, this is what it will look like in the end. And yeah, it's going to be cool. Like there's some really nice chunks of stitching to do. So it's not like it's colour here, colour there. It's not confetti like that. It's just, yeah, nice, easy stitching. So it's a bit like squirrel comes to town. Anyway, Dewdrop Daisy. This has been a labour of love, and I'm gonna so be happy when this one's done, partly because it is turning out beautifully. And I've been umming and ahhing over about it for ages, and it's just coming together so well. And this is where I'm at so far, and I'm slowly been working on the petals and getting them done, and it is just looking beautiful. It really is coming along so well, and you'll probably keep hearing me rave about this project until it's done. And this is where I've been focusing. Yeah, it has been this petal that I've been working on, slowly getting it done, and my aim is to get this to come down to the bottom here and then work across. So it'll look good. It will really look good. I'm really happy with how it's going. So beautiful colours. So that's pretty much the last bit of the stitching, like actual full blown cross stitching. I just wanted to quickly show you the full finish. So just to actually really give you an idea with this one. Oh, and yes, so this is cross stitch. So this is why I was initially umming and ahhing about back stitch and whether it was worth it. For this piece, no back stitch, nah, because this is just how beautiful. This was done on 14 count black Ada. Yes, I've left the glass in, no matting or anything like that. And it is, yeah, it's definitely one of those pieces where you need to admire it from a distance, because if we bring it up, like, you can still see the general shape for it and all the rest, but it sort of gets to the point where it sort of loses its shape a little bit, and I can get the understanding for why I'd need a bit of bank stitch for it. But I'm glad that I didn't put any back stitch into it, and yeah, I did use some sharp scissors for the back, just to try and get these bits up and down. So it has made my fingers a little bit uncomfortable, a bit like paper cuts, that sort of thing. But otherwise, it's worked out okay. One of the other cool things is that last weekend, Michael and I were travelling down to Canberra, and I actually got to stitch in the car. It's something that I have never done before. I've stitched when I've been on the bus, travelling between Canberra and Sydney and vice versa, but it's a bit different because you're in a bigger vehicle. But to be in a car and do that stitching was actually kind of cool. It helped, for me at least, it helped me to pass the time. Michael was okay with me stitching in the car, and there were definitely some times where I just needed to pause for a little bit because the road was just weird. It was uncomfortable, potholes, different things, and it just meant that I got to briefly sort of take in the scenery a bit and all the rest. And I thankfully didn't need to frog any of the stuff that I stitched in the car. It was just when I wasn't stitching in the car and just me readjusting what I wanted to do for that bookmark. That's when the frog really made itself at home and very comfortable. This episode is super short, and this is where I don't really have too much life stuff to share either, because I guess there's a few things going on in the background where I'll hopefully be heading up to Sydney just for a day trip next week on Saturday. I am going to need to just really sit down and focus on a bucket load of stitching just to try and catch up and see how I can go with all of that. I'm also trying to talk quickly and finish things off, because one of the last times I recorded with my current setup, the software said that it was a bit too big and it couldn't import it, even though I have done similar filming before with the same setup. I don't know how that works. I think the software has changed its setup a little bit for what it wants to do. I am getting back into running a bit, which is okay. I just need to remind myself that just because I am running again doesn't mean I can eat anything and everything that I see. So we'll wait and see. We'll see how things go. I'm just not in a great spot right now for that. Otherwise, I'm just really looking forward to getting into the stitching. So I shall catch you all later. I'll hopefully see you all in a couple of weeks' time, and I'll have a lot more to share with you. Until then, take care and happy stitching.